Baby, I ain't got time to go to church. Okay?
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Yeah. Fight your battles for you. They gon' wonder how you sleep at night. Won't he do it? Oh, yes, he will.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am back with another vlog. Go ahead and subscribe to me if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you can keep up with me, period, because your girl is finna be consistent. I don't need nobody saying, nah, that's what you always say, because whatever. I am finna be consistent. So, let's hop right on into it. Today's topic is story time. That's so inappropriate for the topic I'm about to do. Okay, whatever. Today's topic is how I found Jesus. And even though I said let's hop right into it, let me backtrack. I record my videos the best way I can to get whatever likes. So here we are, boom, bam, here sitting on the bed recording. Anyway, today's topic is how I found Jesus or how I found God. Same people to me, but that's another vlog. Anyway, listen. I love God. If you know me, you know I love God. If you don't know I love God, you don't really know me, period. I wasn't always like this though. So let me start with the background story. So of course I always went to church. I got baptized when I was probably like 7. You know, we went to Sunday school or whatever. I used to take notes in church, but I didn't know God. I didn't know Jesus. I didn't have a relationship. I was just doing what I was supposed to do, going with the motions. And anytime I ever took like a spiritual, aesthetic, or theological test, you know, just to see what your strong points are, my weakest points were always in the spiritual section because I ain't have no spirituality. Like, yeah, I was going to church. Yeah, I was listening to the preacher. Thank God for this, and that. But, oh God, I didn't really know him. Shit. I don't even know if he knew me, you know. But God found me. Yes, he did. And so I just want to share my story about how I found God and how it has completely changed my life. So the first thing that I remember that was like groundbreaking for me, like really starting to get a hunger or a thirst to know who God was I was at my apartment. I lived with my girlfriend at the time. Yes, homosexual, which you already know that. I was a homosexual, let's be clear. Thank you, Lord. He delivered. Anyway, so I had an apartment with my girlfriend or whatever, and my best friend came over, and she'd always been like a religious kind of spiritual person, but she was kind of getting more into it. And so I don't even know how we got on the conversation or on the topic, but she basically explained to me like why God made humans. And she was like, you know, Satan was in heaven, woo-de-woo, and he wanted to outdo God. He came down here. Long story short, God was like, I'll make some humans that's lower than the angels, lower than you, and they still gonna worship me. They still gonna love me. They still gonna mess with me. So that was like, wow, okay, that makes sense. That's the first time something in my head clicked, like, I might really need to see what's up with God. Like, not because other people saying this is what you should do, but I want to know more about these. Like, is that really how it went? So fast forward, I got a student Bible. I went to my mama's house. Not even realizing my mama had been a spiritual person all my life. She always had Bibles, always took us to church, always was doing her like Bible study, reading the Bible at the house, but she ain't make us do nothing as kids. Like, she didn't force us to do anything. Everything was an option. So like, yeah, get up and go to church, or yeah, get up and do this, but she didn't like push nothing on us. So I really never even really had a conversation about God for real with my mom. So anyway, she gave me this student Bible, and the student Bible like broke down basically all the scriptures. Like I think it was NIV version, New International Version. So it had the original scriptures, but like at the bottom or under it, it would like have what this really meant. It would break the sections in parts for me. And it also had a plan in it. It was like, you get to know the gospel, you get to know Jesus, blah, blah, blah. So I started carrying this Bible to work. Like, you can ask the people I was working with. When I was working at Jackson State, I would be reading my Bible and doing these plans and just trying to figure out who God is while I was at work. Like, I needed to know. Like, I'm an intellect anyway, so I'm like, okay, if the Bible is the book that's gonna tell me about him, then I need to figure this out. Also, church. I started going to a different church than the one that I grew up going to, and it was supposed to be a church based on the word or whatever. So I was going there. I was learning stuff. Me and my girlfriend, because she had got the same message that I got. The bug didn't bite her like it bit me. You know, everybody on their own path. Lord help. But anyway, we had started going to church together, and so we were going to this church, and you know, I can say I was learning more about God. I was kind of not getting to know him as far as having a relationship with him for real, but I was getting to know what the word said about him. And I was getting to know how to put it in a practical way to apply it to my life. But mind you, I was still gay. I was still a heathen in these streets. I wasn't really concerned with what God was saying do and don't do at that point. Like, I wasn't really convicted. And that's mostly because I didn't have a relationship with God. So of course, y'all know, I was going through a terrible time in life. I was sad. I was insecure. My girlfriend had abandoned me. Like, I just felt so lost. And before I get into that, while I was still in this relationship, I was asking God, like, give me a sign. Like, give me a sign. When I tell you this nigga is in God, would be like, oh, you want a sign? I'm gonna send you 10 today, 5 minutes later from right now when you ask. Like, God was moving like this. When I can't listen, he wanted me up and out of that relationship, period. He was like, whatever I gotta do to get you up out of here, let's do it. I'm down. I'll show you. Need me to burn the bush? What you need me to do? I'll do whatever to get you up out of here. But anyway, so back to that. So I was going through a tough time. I was really depressed or whatever. And I was just telling my best friend, like, I need to save myself. I cannot save myself for nothing. I'm so good at saving myself, but I cannot save myself from how I'm feeling. And I really wanted her to save me. Like, just save me, please. And I'll never forget, she was like, I can't save you and you can't save you. Only God can save you. And I was like, wow, yeah, I guess you're right. So I started praying. I had a prayer journal. And like, you really go to God in your desperate times. God found me when I was desperate. He found me when I needed him like the most ever in my life. We all need God. And sometimes it just takes something to break you down to such a place of desperation, such a valley, such a low place that you gotta find God. Like, it's gotta be something else out there that can help me, because I can't help myself. So anyway, after she said God can only save, you know, I started trying to listen to scriptures. I started listening to sermons. She would send me a sermon all the time. She would just send me a lot of encouraging things to help me on my path. But really, to be honest with you, at the end of the day, your path is your path. And it's not until you decide you want to know God and you want to give yourself to him and you want to find him and allow him to really reveal things to you that you can truly know him. As I stated, I was working at Jackson State, and this guy that I worked with, he was like, oh, praise Jesus, praise Father God. He was a Christian, devout Christian for sure. And he was going to this church, and he had invited me to this church like several times, and I always had something to do. Really, I was tied up with my girlfriend, whatever, trying to do whatever I could to keep up with her. Baby, I ain't got time to go to church. Okay? I'm trying, listen, my girlfriend might be out here with another girl. Lord, I'll come back to you. So he kept asking me to come to this church. And so finally one day he came into work, and he just knew when my spirit was just down and out. And he was like, what you doing today? Can you come to Bible study today? And I was like, yeah, I am free. And I'll never forget, I remember what I had on and everything. He was like, you definitely should come. There'll be a word for you at church today. So I'm like, cool. So I pull up to the church. The church is like in this storefront, like, looks like a church that I would never attend, to be honest with you. So I come into church, I listen to the word, you know, I actually learned something. I'm like, okay, this service was actually good. It was a little different than what I'm used to. People shouting a little bit in here, running around and stuff. It's in the storefront. But okay, the word was good. So towards the end of the service, the pastor started to prophesy. Mind you, I've never been prophesied to in my life. Knew what prophecy was, kinda, but not really. He comes over to me and he immediately starts to prophesy like, you're in this 2.5-year cycle, this ungodly relationship, you having shortness of breath, anxiety. Like, he just starts spilling out everything about me that no one would know. Like, stuff that I'm like, I hadn't even told my friends, like the shortness of breath that I was having. That's not something I had shared with nobody. And I'm like crying my eyes out. I'm bawling. He like, God wants you, you know what I'm saying? Like, God knows. He was like, what's your name? What's your name? He didn't know me from nobody. He was like, hey, he like trying to get it. He was like, the Lord know your name. And like, my life has never been the same since that day. Swear. I shouldn't swear. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. My life has never been the same, period. That they changed my life forever because I knew in my heart, God is real. Like, I had already decided, like, I want to know more about him or whatever, but that's the first time I really experienced God. Like, this nigga know me. This nigga know me. 2.5 years. It's been exactly 2.5 years since I was in that relationship. I was like, definitely is ungodly. I cannot breathe. I am having anxiety. It is a dark place in my heart. Like, there's no way this man would have knew that. The boy that took me to church, he didn't know none of that. He didn't know the specifics of what was going on with me. He just knew I was sad and I was in a bad place. You know what I'm saying? And then it was like other people coming to me like, listen to this song, this song called Free by Kiera Sheard. And when I got home, I put that song on and I shouted for the first time in my entire life. I was in my apartment shouting like, I was in there. Come on, Lord, yes. Oh, I shouldn't be cussing. Lord was still working on me. I'm working on cussing. But like, I was in there shouting. I'm trying to be real careful because I got my phone position. I was in there shouting and crying and just thanking God so much because I knew God was real. Mind you, 30 minutes later, I was calling my girlfriend trying to link up. Like, where you at, girl? Let me tell you about what happened with the Lord. And I'm knowing I had to leave her alone. But anyway, after that happened, I started going to this church consistently. I was going back every Tuesday, every Sunday. We had Bible study in church. I had never been up going to Bible study. Never been that person in my life. I had to go. Oh, I'm going. It don't matter what we doing. I'm going, period. I started inviting all my friends to the church. A lot of my friends that are there now came because I was like, you got to come to this church. You got to check it out. Like, I had to get people to like, you need to listen. You want to meet God? Come holler. Come. You will meet him here. I guarantee you he got a word for you. So that day changed my life forever. And of course, like I said, I was going to church and I was getting fed. I still was reading the Bible, but I was getting so fed. And not only was I getting fed, like the word was just revealing itself to me. So many things in my life started to make sense. I got prophesied to more times, about stuff I didn't even know I was going to do. Like, everything now that I'm just thinking about it, because this was like in 2015. This is 2019 now. So this was 4 years ago. Everything like is just making so much sense. All the words that I got, because prophecy is just confirmation. All the things he said to me, like all this stuff that I knew only God could tell somebody. The word would prophesy to me. I would open my Bible and it would be something that I asked. Like, I say, Lord, I need some. Open my Bible, whatever scripture I'm there, it's the answer. I was getting fed like no other. I never felt so good. Like, just being in the spirit, being in that presence made me feel so good. And so from that moment on, nothing could ever make me doubt God, make me doubt who he is. And I like I was telling somebody, like, I didn't find God. I mean, he had always been there, but it's like he came and found me. He came and got me. He knew where I was at. He had been letting me doing my thing. He was like, enough is enough. Come, my child. Enough is enough. I have so much greatness for you, and I've seen so much stuff manifest in my life since I gave my life to God. And when I say gave my life to God, not my will, but your will, Lord. This vision over here, this vision board I got, I pray every day. I pray, maybe not every day, I don't want to be lying. I pray often, often that my vision is his vision. And it has just been a beautiful, beautiful journey on finding God and knowing God. I have devotion books. I have found myself evangelizing to people. I bring people to Jesus. Like, you gotta get to know him. You gotta know God, man. You got to. He know you. He created you. He wants you. You know what I'm saying? And that, even me thinking that, when I thank God, I'm like, thank you for choosing me. Thank you for keeping me. Like, cause I was running from you, my nigga. I catch up with you when I catch up with you. I'm busy right now, my nigga. And he was like, steady snatching that ass back. Steady snatching that ass back. Like, girl, get your butt back over here. You know? And now I'm in a place to where I can make a blog about, wow. About what, girl? About how I found God. Like, who? I would have never thought in a million years, when I was living reckless, when I was out here crazy, that I will be telling people about how I found God and what God has done in my life, what he's done for me, how I found purpose. I never had purpose or passion. That's another vlog too. I'm gonna be hitting y'all with a few things, but never had none of that until I found God. And I remember getting a word at church, like, what you've been looking for is gonna fall into your lap. And it's falling into my lap. And it's really a beautiful thing, like, to be honest. Seeing things manifest in my life is crazy. To know God is crazy. But I wouldn't want to know nobody else. And I'm just so happy that I'm able to share my story with y'all. Like, it wasn't always an easy road. He wasn't always my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. Woo, we're gonna celebrate Easter today. But now I know why. Now I appreciate it. I'm grateful. I'm celebrating because you did that. You did that, my nigga. Thank you. Because if you didn't, listen. Out here down and out. But, yeah, I think I'm pretty much wrapping up. This was not a long video, I don't think. Just my spiel on how I found God, because that's just something that I wanted to share. I haven't always been how I am now. Like, everything I do now go back to God, period. He get the glory in everything. I wasn't always like that. You know, I didn't become like that until, like I said, between 25 and now. Well, 24 and now. Like, I started trying to get to know him, got a hunger for him or whatever, but I know him now. I can say that. I know God. I know him. I know his character. I know who he is. I know what he's done for me. And I ain't scared to be glad about it. I ain't scared to say it. I ain't scared to share it. Period. I ain't gonna be like Peter. You come up to me and ask me about God, I'm like, yeah. And you just gonna have to kill me. And I'm saying that because Peter said that too, but I plan to stick with that. Lord help me. I plan to stick with that. I ain't never been in no situation like that, but you know, that's my nigga. I'm trying to hold it down for him. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it moved you. If it didn't, we'll try again next time. As always, you know, leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, give me some feedback, tell me what you want to hear me saying, you know, because your girl is back and better. And baby, this might be my new angle. I got new weave in, so I'm ready to make a few cute vlogs.